Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Grant Talks Funny Bits. Today we have an absolute legend, not just a legend, we have a legendary couple in the hypnosis community that's going to be joining us. This guy has so much prestige when it comes to the performing industry. He is a true showman, and he has an amazing partner as well that works with him. They are known as Misty and the Sandman. For those that know Alan, it's Alan Sands. Alan's been performing around the world. He has a fantastic boot camp. He is an absolutely amazing stage hypnosis performer. And most importantly, and I get a couple of messages every week about the egos involving stage hypnotists and how a lot of these male stage hypnotists can kind of be a bit, they have a lot of self-belief, I believe is the term that someone has used. But this gentleman is an absolute true gent and a true performer. So I want you to, if you have any questions, this is your chance to actually ask those questions, get his advice live and show him lots of love. So when he comes on, I want you guys to give him lots of engagement and show him lots of love. Ladies and gentlemen, I always get this wrong. Misty and the Sandman. Make some noise, clap, shoot, woo, make some noise for him.
Yay!
So, yay!
Oh, we're supposed to duck.
That's it. That's it. I'm absolutely loving the hat, by the way. I'm
we are so happy to be here.
I have a purple. Oh, where is it? I have a purple bowler myself, but I don't tend to wear it these days. But I'm definitely a hat fan.
I've got red and blue bowlers.
One of the things that I've always found fabulous about your shows, from what I've seen online as well, is you do a steampunk show. That looks absolutely amazing. I love the styling of that. How did that come about?
Well, number one, I call it steampunk light. Okay, because I don't wear goggles. If you put on the goggles, then you're true steampunk. And but how did it come about? I saw a Cirque du Soleil show, and I just fell in love with the theme. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, and it only took me 35 years to find something unique to go with. And then when I met Misty, we were discussing how to do street hypnosis at fairs, and we decided to design a grounds attraction with stage or backdrop that was attractive, that would draw people in to do street hypnosis. So we then began constructing what has become our steampunk, what do we call it, experience?
Yes.
Oddities, and curiosities, and a bunch of other words. We haven't actually found what we're calling it yet.
One of the things I like is when you talk about you had something for your street hypnosis to pull people in. And now I've seen lots of videos of people online that do stuff for street hypnosis, and they generally have a little sign saying street hypnosis here or something like that. You actually, is it a Model T Ford all branded up with your styling on as well?
Yeah, understand the difference between us and the other people is that we are charging. We want to get paid to do what we do. And I'm not saying that arrogant. I'm not saying that as though we don't work for free or we won't do things. But at a county fair, when we're charging them what is $1,000 a day to be there, we need to put on. We have to make ourselves more appealing than other hypnotists as well. So we're creating a bigger show, and yes, we have a 20-foot trailer, which is what? How many meters is that? 6, 12, 18. So between 6 and 7 meters long. And then we have the Model T, and that's another 3, 4 meters long. And so we're setting up a 10 to 12 meter wide performance space. We have a bunch of old antique steamer trunks and then a bunch of other things that we fill in the space with, just so that it's curious and it's pretty. And
it creates that curiosity, not just you're dressed as the hypnotist, the stage is dressed as the hypnotist, and it sets out those boundaries. Just a couple of hellos. We've got Jason Simons, who's a hypnotist from down the south in the UK, and Jason Nobby Morgan, who, I'm not going to lie, I think Jason has a bit of a man crush on you, Alan, to be fair. I messaged him the other day to say you were coming on, and he was very excited about it. So Jason will have some questions for you.
So we'll avoid him, yes.
Yes.
He has a crush on me.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't tell him I'm not wearing pants.
So yeah, I mean, as well as the Model T as well, you do a boot camp where you bring students over. I know I had a friend in Manchester, Colin. He's been over to your boot camp, and rather than a lot of stage hypnosis training, now one of the things we don't do on the show is we don't flog trainings all the time. But I have to say that the way that you do it is so unique. As in, rather than just sitting people in a classroom and just kind of going, "This is how it works. Here's some videos of a show we're doing." You actually have them performing shows. How did that format work? You must have some stories from that?
Yeah, one of my students likes to say, I bring you to the end of the dock and I push you into the water and I tell you to swim. And I'm there if I got to jump in and save you. But really, you get to do multiple shows in a 1 week span, at least one show a day, day after day. And I've been doing it since 2013. I think I've done about 10 or 11 boot camps now. We bring a half a dozen, roughly, we don't have more than 7. 7 is the maximum, and I've done them with as many as 1. But there is an advantage to watching other people fail. When you watch them fail, you can then say, I can fail, or I can do better than what I just witnessed. And they get up there and they do shows also. And it's pretty amazing how many of them, after a 5 or a 6 day fair of doing 5 or 6 shows in a row, can say, yes, I can do a hypnosis show now. And they can sell themselves commercially. One of the biggest things, though, that we get out of the boot camp is something that none of us had when we were self-trained. And that is somebody telling us, don't use that trigger word. If you say the word danger, you don't know what it means in their mind. If you put in that negative thought while you're doing your pre-talk and say, well, you can leave the stage if you want to, that sets up that they have permission to leave the stage. And we're able to drill into them all those negatives or counteract all those negatives and let them know, don't do that. You know, let's practice for the next few days not doing that. And how not to stand there with your back to the audience. We don't want to see your booty for, 45 minutes, even though you're trying to watch the subjects. They're sitting there with their eyes closed. Turn around, face the audience, stand behind the chairs, stand on a chair, animate a little bit, hold that microphone closer to your face, etc. All those little pointers.
But it's all those little pointers that come from you have an amazing performance pedigree as such. You were born into a performing family. You performed. What age was it you first went on stage?
Oh, I was on stage at 3.5, but my father didn't give me a microphone. I caught napkins from when my father would throw the napkins over the head of somebody doing Slidini's paper balls over the head. And I would catch the napkins, and the person on stage didn't know that I was there behind them. And then at the end of the routine, I would throw them all back when my father said, 1, 2, 3, down from the sky. And it was cute because I was 3.5. Now when I do it, people say, what the hell is the drunk doing on stage? Get him off there.
Brilliant. You must have some... You must have some stories over the years. What's either the most embarrassing thing that's happened on stage or the scariest things that's happened on stage? I like to talk about the things that can go wrong sometimes because, like you said earlier, it's about failures.
Yeah. So we're both in touch with. We do county fairs, and county fairs are G to PG rated. You really, if you go PG-13. You're going to get in trouble from the management because someone's going to complain and a snowball effect happens. So we have one fair, though, in a town in North Carolina where I've been there for 17 years. And for some reason, the very last show we do at this county fair always gets to be R.
Yeah.
And not last year, but the year before, 2018, when we were doing the Hawaiian routine,
Hula dance.
Yeah, everybody hula when we put on the hula music and show us the ocean waves, show us the sunrise, show us the sunset, show us the full moon. And of course, I want them to turn around and shake their booty. And then we say, show us your coconuts. And we expect them to just, push up on their shirt a little bit. Well, we had a very full figure girl who decided to pull down her halter top and shake them out there for everybody, and there's no returning from that.
You can hear me on the video screaming, "No!"
Yeah, we had to bar that one out when we put the video online, and it can be found online.
It's on Vimeo.com.
The other one, though, that's embarrassing for me was I have a new routine that we're developing called this Animal Spirits. And just in January this year, one of the last shows we did, we were flown up to Alaska.
February. It was Valentine's Day.
Oh, you're right. It was on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We were flown up to Anchorage, Alaska, and we performed for an AA group. Now, AA groups, Alcoholics Anonymous, they're recovering alcoholics. And they have a big convention statewide. And one of the new routines that I'm working on, and we've been developing for the last 2 or 3 years, is we ask everyone, we tell them that everyone has an animal spirit. In Native American mythology, everyone has animal spirits that they are in touch with. How do you phrase it?
That they draw their power from.
They draw their power from these animal spirits. In a moment, we're going to ask you what animal you are, and we're going to ask you to imitate that animal. And we go down the line and we ask each person individually what animal they are. And I say, show us that animal. So it's like, I'm a lion. Show us your lion. I'm a jackalope. Show us your jackalope. I'm a frog. Show us your frog.
And one lady says, I'm a beaver.
And I yell, show us your beaver. And I turned beet red.
He walked off stage. I had to just keep going.
That was a little moment for me.
I've never seen you so flustered.
It doesn't happen. Because you've seen it all. You know, I've been doing this for 23 years. I've been loading every one of my DVDs onto Vimeo, and
I've got a link for that. I'll put up at the bottom of the. There we go. I've just put the link to that at the bottom of the screen. So Vimeo.com Alan Sands. So, and how many videos you got up there? Because I had a quick look, and there is a vast library of shows on there.
Yeah, I mean, if you sign up and you buy the one for fairs, festivals, and amusement parks, there's over 700 different shows on that one alone. And then I've got high schools and high school age groups, and I've got about 350 shows there. Again, all different shows. And I'm being cut in half. You have to move over. I don't want to be in half. I want to be in the whole screen. Anyway, and then I've also got my corporates, comedy clubs, colleges, and I put all those together because I don't have as many of those, and I wanted to make it a full library of a couple of hundred. And then I've got a couple of that are more specific. Oh, we do years also. We do annuals. And that way people know their show was in 2018. They go look at the annual list of 2018 and find their show a little bit easier. And yes, then we have our Misty page, where all the shows that Misty has been in. And then we've got our Bootcamp one. And in the Bootcamp one, we broke down the show into segments so people can see pre-talk and study pre-talks. They can study inductions. They can study instructions to the volunteers before they go under, to tell them, you know, not to talk to each other, not to fall off the edge of the stage. One of those things we learned from British law. And look, there's an edge. Don't fall off. It slows down the show. And let's see, what else? You know, so we have all these different libraries. Yeah. And then I also saw my dad's magic on there.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is a great training resource for anyone that's wanting to kind of fine tune and tweak their show to see that amount of shows. You know, it's gonna rub off. It's gonna definitely help people improve and up their game as such. You talked there about festivals and high school shows. In the UK, I mean, we don't have that at all. We have a limited festival market, which, you know, obviously you do Glastonbury, which is a small little gathering down in the south of the country. I mean, for us, it's definitely, yeah, it must be an amazing experience, but it must have some challenges. I do a festival up in Scotland, and I know the challenges I face from performing there. Performing what we do at Glastonbury must have some challenges. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the challenge is if it doesn't rain. If it doesn't rain, everyone's out having a good time and they don't come into our tent. If it's raining, we have a full tent because everyone wants to get out of the downpour and the mud. So it's but it gets hot and muggy when the tent gets full. Glastonbury is a different animal. It's just so wonderful. It's, you got to love the flavor though. If you don't like camping, in a tent on the ground, then don't come to Glastonbury.
Then don't do it.
If you don't like being knee-high in mud, there's a 45 to 60% chance of being, being stuck in the mud.
Glastonbury is not one I've been to, but I would feel cheated if I did go to Glastonbury and I didn't get stuck in the mud. It's kind of, it goes hand in hand, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you numbers on Glastonbury, there are 3,000 performers, 1,000 acts, 100 stages. They sell, they estimate 208,000 people total, 180,000 tickets, and then support of almost 30,000 people running food and concessionaires and everything else.
Security, whatever.
And it's wonderful, though. We don't see any cops. I mean,
Yes, we do.
here in the U.S.,
They had fairy wings on.
there's 7 layers of police at a festival that size. In Glastonbury, we saw 8 cops the entire time, and they're the same 8 cops we see walking around, and they all walk around together, and they're not carrying arms. I love it.
Well, it's because we're so stoic, our police force in the UK.
Yes.
We have a quick question from Jason Simons, who says, have you still been managing to do shows throughout the lockdown? And if not, how have you managed to maintain an income during this time?
That's a good question.
Okay. First of all, we did one show last week. It was a house party for 9 high school graduates and 3 parents. Smallest audience I've ever had. So 12 people in the room, and the 3 parents wanted nothing to do with the show, really. So we had 9 people really in the, from the volunteer set. And we actually did the show backwards. It didn't quite work, but it was okay. So, for instance, at the end of our show, we will oftentimes give people a motivational, where we tell them, just to pick your own motivation that you want to achieve, see yourself achieving it, going up and down a staircase, and seeing the steps it takes to do it. We decided to do that at the beginning of the show so that everyone had the opportunity to experience what it felt like to be hypnotized. Then from that, we invited any of them up that wanted to be in the show, and 4 of them volunteered. 2 of them pretty much stayed under. 1 of them wasn't under at all. We let her stay up there, though, because we could pick on her and get some laughs. But 1 of them was pretty animated. So the show was successful, and they were happy. But it was a tough show, doing a show for 9 people. We have another show on July 4th in 2 days. And again, it's a house party. And I think they're expecting 20 to 30 people. I forget.
Then we're going to have to call it a protest.
Yeah, we have to call it a protest for 10 people legally. And then we have another one on the 11th. Again, it's a house party. House party meaning it's in somebody's backyard or their living room. And they're just having a birthday or a graduation party. And it's pretty much a private party.
How have we maintained our income?
How have we maintained our income? Of course, the government has been subsidizing us, which is pretty amazing for the American government to pay unemployment to people that have never paid unemployment into the system. However, we've also been doing the Vimeo. And our Vimeo has really been an amazing supplement to our income. And because I had time to load 1,500 videos onto the Vimeo channels, I would sit here for hours and hours. I took my old DVDs, put them into my app, I forget what application I'm using on my Macintosh, made them into MP4s.
Final Cut.
Then, no, that's just the editor. And then I would put them on the Vimeo once they're MP4s. And then I have to organize them and put them in chronological order. And I plan on actually doing a class online on how to use Vimeo and make profit from it. Because there's a lot of old timers out there that have copies of their shows and they're sitting there on a shelf doing nothing. And
we found some really old shows.
I got a video of me from 1995 and I put that on there. and another one from 1996, and I put that on there. And
so is that a monthly subscription on the Vimeo, or can people buy?
Well, you can buy one show, you can rent it, you can buy the whole library, you can download them, you can save them to your online library.
Vimeo is a great resource.
Yeah.
I'll put the link up again just so that if anyone's watching, they can definitely make sure that they check that out. So I've got a quick, it's one of your demo things just from, we always kind of play a clip from the guest that's on. So I've got one I pulled it off your website. I'm going to show that now. And then when we come back after that, we'll have a bit more of a chat. So I shall see you in a second.
Bye.
One, hypnosis, kind of like when you read a book, you don't remember anything you read. Stage 2, kind of like when you catch that power nap. Stage 3, it's the best metaphor I can give you, so you kind of understand where you're going to be going, is when we're infatuated. We put ourselves in a tunnel emotionally. And we really do know we can take ourselves out of that tunnel, but we don't want to because it feels good.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't stand up.
Give your teddy bear a noogie, noogie the teddy bear, noogie. Give your teddy bear a wet willy the teddy bear. Spit up. Yeah, no, don't do that, don't do that.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't stand up.
Going up. Going down.
Also look at the books. Did you read those books?
Listen up, my apple under the sea. That's over in yellow and porous as he.
I'll give you something fun.
And now you're a
I'd
bulldog.
like to know that we sell this on our
And
website.
now you're a serpent,
It's inside box,
USA.
just
And
more.
now you're the empty of life.
Absolutely fabulous little clip that.
Hey, they're
One of
really
the things-
good.
Do you know what
Hey,
I
I was
like about it? Yeah. A lot of, and I've been guilty of this in the past, and especially a lot of hypnotists are very guilty of this. It's nice to have a highlight reel that focuses on the audience, that focuses on the subjects having a great time. When I say a lot of highlight reels from hypnotists, and mine used to be like this and probably still are a little bit, the focus is on the hypnotist and look how wonderful I am. But that's not what a booker or an audience wants to see. So I really like that. It's a great example of showing it's a fun show, it's a safe show, and it's the audience are engaged and enjoying themselves, and really great animated volunteers. I have to ask you this: do you find the American volunteers are more animated than a British audience?
No, there's no rules. There's no rules. As long as they sleep and dream in English, they understand our suggestions. We have the advantage because even if we use different words when we're in England, because we have such a large movie industry and people watch American movies, they understand our accent and they understand our vocabulary. Yeah. So we do have that advantage. But I'll be honest with you, the British stage hypnotists and clinical hypnotists that are here in the US are doing massive work. I mean, people like the British accent. There's a magic to an accent that seems to appeal to the hypnosis audience. So
the first time I came to Vegas for, it was a stage hypnosis conference seminar thing. We chatted there. And I found it so weird, like talking to people, and they were fascinated by my English accent. And I'm like, well, I'm from the north of the country, and I'm a bit common, to be fair. But it's so unusual that the Americans have this fascination with the British accent. Sorry, just quickly, Jason Simons. I always say, I never, whether it's Simmons or Simons, so I always say both. Jason Simons says, thanks, Alan and Misty. I'd love to watch your tutorial on Vimeo, and he's also going to check out your Vimeo channel as well. So Jason is a great hypnotist, so definitely he should do well.
Well, you know what? Send us an email, because when I'm going to do it, I do have a MailChimp list, and we will MailChimp all the hypnotists on that list. So, you know, send me an email, Alan Sands, or alan@alansands.com.
Yeah.
So just my first name, Alan, actually, you can write anything you want at alansands.com, and it'll get to me. So if you don't want to be on my list, say F you at alansands.com. It'll get there too. Anyway.
Brilliant. I was at a hypnotist training thing a couple of years ago, and there was one of the, I'm not saying who he was, but there was one of the presenters that was doing a training on using your MailChimp or using your list in order to build your business. Got us all to sign up to his list there and then, and I've not heard anything since. And
yeah, we don't use our list either.
Yeah, and I kind of thought you did so well actually getting me to give over my email address. I signed up to this person's list and never heard anything from it since. So
I have over 7,000 email addresses inside my MailChimp list, and they charge me $76 and change per month to maintain my list, and I don't use it.
No,
I'm really bad at it. It's, you know, and there's so many things you can do with it too. I mean, MailChimp in particular, you can create
MailChimp, you can do
pages, and you can, you know, include videos and photos.
Yeah, anyway. It is brilliant, and it's expensive, but it does the job. But you've got to use it for what it is. Jason Nobinosis wants to know, when are you coming back to the UK?
When they let us.
When they let us. The UK is not letting Americans back in because we're contagious. We got cookies.
We have cooties. You know, they told me that quicksand was going to be a bigger deal when I was a child, and that cooties weren't that big of a deal. They were very, very wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the Trump virus, and we're not allowed into the country.
Yes.
I'm really sad, though. I was looking forward to Glastonbury very much. I wanted to see Sir Paul. And very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, we'll probably try and make it back for next year's Glastonbury if there is one next year. Although we don't know what's going on with this virus, of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd like to think something will have been sorted by then, just for the sake of our economy and the world economy. But when you do come back over.
Well, no, I don't want to talk about the virus. Let's talk about hypnosis. Come on.
Exactly. When you do come over, I know Jason is definitely going to take you out for a few English pints down his neck of the woods as well.
Yeah, we stay in your house. That's our question.
Yeah.
We bring our sleeping bags.
Yeah, Jason says you're missing Glastonbury. I don't know if Jason knows that Glastonbury is not happening this year.
Yeah, it's cancelled.
Yeah, it's cancelled. Yeah.
If it had not been cancelled, we would be with you right now in England.
We'd be there. That's what we'd be. Yes.
Because we always hang out for a week or two afterwards and
it would be this week.
Wander aimlessly on the streets, homeless.
I was going to say, didn't you?
That's why we want to stay at your house.
Yeah, did you do a couple of magic, not conventions, some magic lectures last time you were over?
I do. Yeah, I do occasional ones. There are 2 or 3.
Jason says he'll sort you out. He'll sort you out Welsh pints. Sorry, I made the deathly mistake that you can do in the United Kingdom. I said English pints and not Welsh pints.
Good to know.
Welsh pints are the same, but they're made out of wool. So, what's next for Misty and the Sandman?
We are heading to Seattle. We have a show on the 4th in 2 days, local house party. Then we have to drive 800 miles north, and I'm helping my daughter move. And I have a very large van that uses large amounts of gasoline. Kind of like your vans that you have there, the very tall ones.
Yes.
We just started getting those here. So
like a lorry.
Right.
Yeah.
And I bought one because I wanted to consume a lot of gas and petrol. And then we do have one show up there, coincidentally, while we're local, that I picked up another house party. And we're going to go, I'm going to go camping. I'm going to go talk to the trees, like the rivers and the creeks and the bugs. And going to camp a little bit and get out of the house for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And
well, Wales in the UK is a great place to go camping. It's one of the nicest parts of our country. So yeah, brilliant. Well, an absolute pleasure for joining us. It's been good to touch base. I shall make sure we put your links up as well in the description. I always ask our guests as well for 2 books. You know, books that you either think are influential to the hypnosis industry. Your books. 2 books that you think that the hypnotists watching this should definitely have in their library of reading lists.
Yeah. Before we do that, I want to mention one quick thing. We
Absolutely.
have been using Call Loop. Now, I don't endorse Call Loop. In fact, I hope you'll find somebody else.
There's lots of services.
Yeah. But what it is it's a funneling service for people's cell phone numbers. And then you can text them. So when we do shows, we videotape the show.
Yeah.
We then put the show onto Vimeo so that it's online, and we make it for sale on Vimeo. And we have them text us with their cell phone at the show, or we give them little cards, and or we give them these bracelets, and that tells them the instructions on how to text us. And we then collect their cell phone numbers. And we can then tell them when the video is ready to sell on Vimeo. Highly recommend these little bracelets. They work so well because everybody will put it on their wrist and they have it there. They don't lose it like a business card or anything else. And you give one to every volunteer that was on stage. And that's when we do our motivation at the end of the show, is we have them put on the bracelet. And we tell them every time they look at their bracelet, they're going to remind themselves to do their motivation and take the next step to achieving their goal. And anyway, I wanted to share that. I wanted to throw that bit out there for everybody as a sales tool.
That's a great tool, because it also means as well that you've got the data of people that have come to your show and enjoyed your show in a particular area. So, you know, if you're going to work that area again, you can send out an email or a text message and go, "Hi, we're here again." So, but I love the idea of anchoring those feelings to the bracelets. That's brilliant.
Yeah, actually, we do have our Call Loop linked to our MailChimp, so we can then gather their email address also if they choose to give it to us. But that's a second step, and we don't necessarily, since we don't use our MailChimp. All right, our 2 books.
The 2 books.
Okay.
Go on. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Stage Hypnosis My Way by Terry Stokes.
Yeah.
He talks about being in the industry for over 50 years. We do sell this on our website.
And yeah, what we'll do is everyone email Grant. And if we get enough orders, the damn postage costs as much as the book. Okay?
Yes.
For us to mail you 1 book to Great Britain, it'll cost $25 for the postage and $25 for the book. So Grant will gather your emails, and if we get enough orders, we will send a box of books to Grant and then let him mail them to everybody. We'll figure it out. It's a brilliant book. It's about 125 pages.
Easy, quick read.
If you go to alansands.com/store, you'll be able to see the book there. And you can either email Grant or email us, and we will collect a bunch of email addresses, and we'll bring books with us next year, or we will mail a box of them to Grant and let him send them to everybody. But it's an amazing book. Terry did an amazing job.
As endorsements go, I always say there's a lot of people that try and bring out stage hypnosis books, but you can tell that they're not performers. They've not gone through the bad shows. They've not gone through the terrible things. Terry's book is absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's I've read it
Terry
twice.
Was one of the biggest influences. Yeah, Terry was one of my largest influences of all. And then the next one you can get in England. This one was published by a British magician, and it's only
Quentin,
It is a wonderful book. It's 28 pages. I
Wow.
can even read this. It's all of 28 pages, and it's how to be a better magician, but it goes for how to be a better performer, how to be a better entertainer. Highly recommend that book. It was recommended to me by Tess and Jeff Evison. And online on Facebook, and I bought it, and I think it's $20 US, so it's, I don't know, 15 British. Anyway,
well, I'll definitely check that, because I went to a workshop with Quentin a couple of years ago with a guy you probably wouldn't have heard of him in the States. He's called Freddie Davis, or Parrot Face, and he was very much when vaudeville or the stage was coming kind of mainstream onto TV. He had a great. I'm not even going to try and do his routine, but he had his bowler hat, and he had a little 3-minute routine that back in those days made him his absolute fortune. But when you talk about stage presence, this guy, I think he's in his 80s, maybe 85, maybe a bit older now. His stage presence now is still absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Quentin put on the workshop with Freddie Davis in Manchester a couple of years ago, and that was a great workshop. So yeah, I think you'd love Freddie Davis. Actually, very similar. You'd enjoy his work. He's a great guy. So yeah, so that's it for me. I'll put up a link to this on YouTube as well. Anybody that doesn't follow Alan Sands on social media, then please go follow him as well. Go check out his Vimeo. And obviously check out any work that Misty and the Sandman do. Are you guys? You say you guys aren't going to the Hypno Thoughts this year. Do you know where you're at with that? Or?
I am definitely not going. Misty may decide to go. She has her ticket. Yeah, and she's debating still whether to
expose myself to the petri dish that Las Vegas.
There is that. I love the fact that you two actually met at Hypno Thoughts.
We did at the Gator Bar.
At the Gator Bar,
4 years ago.
Wow.
Been paying for that drink ever since.
We had before that, but 4 years ago it proceeded to the next level.
Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me today as well. And
it's great getting to know you too.
Oh yeah, hopefully we shall I'll see you when you're over here, or next time I'm over there. Hopefully we can meet up, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please show lots of love for Alan Sands, Misty and the Sandman.
And Jason, thank you for your questions. Bye-bye, everybody.